Hey there, this is Malorian, and this will be another Paintisode. I know I just did one yesterday, but hey, I got 2 days where I can't get any gaming in up here because, the store's closed and stuff. And so, hey, we'll do another one of these. I still got stuff to paint here. Again, for some reason, this is your first Paintisode, and you didn't see the one prior. Just pull out some models. I'm going to be yapping for about an hour while I paint some stuff. And at the end, you'll have stuff painted, I'll have stuff painted, and it's really just background noise. If you want to go and put the stuff on and not listen to a damn thing I say, you know what? As long as you got stuff painted, that's all I care about. So yesterday, I went and I painted up 5 of these Night Goblin big bosses, and they're all ready to do some nasty things. And now I'm going to be painting up more trolls. I got this guy where normally he'd be having the rock above his head, and we just did a double hand swap, so he's like, I'm going to smash it with these weapons. And then bog standard sledgehammer guy. So this is one of the ones that they can get in the blister. I don't know if you can even still get them. They're probably fine cast now. This guy was metal. But yeah, it's at least a different pose. It's not everybody with the rocks above their head. And so adding him in will add in something a little bit different. So already put the first green on them. I already know from experience that I can do 2 plain trolls in an hour. So this should be the right amount to get done. Already some updates from yesterday. One would be that, oh wow, this guy actually like scarred in a huge thing into his face. Ha! Sorry, I'm already rambling off, but these trolls, I got a good chunk of them from trades. Clearly, I didn't just go and like get a bajillion starter sets, but sometimes people like showing like battle damage, and especially on guys with regen. And what this guy did here is, how usually it's like, for some reason, there's a lot of people that are being hit by swords like right like this, and so it's enough to destroy the eye, but not enough to actually kill you. And so that's basically what he did over here. He has the big scar there, but looking down the rest of his face, like clearly he just took a file to the guy's face. It's like, because he has a matching scar here and going down his cheek. So apparently it was like the perfect blow just to hit him right there, and then that's where it stopped. I don't know. I'm not usually a crazy fan of like these battle damage type things. I'm not even a fan of usually putting blood on the weapons, right? And it's almost the whole idea of why I like having the plain grass bases for all my guys. And that's the whole reason of like, well, if it's on a grass mat, which is the most common, why are you standing in snow? Or why are all your guys standing on rocks, right? Do you base your formation so that your leader can stand on a rock? That type of a thing. And so the same thing comes up with bloody weapons and battle damage, because if the fight hasn't even started yet and you're just going and setting up your guys, how did this happen, right? Like, do you just never bathe? Do you not wash off your weapons and yourself from battle to battle? Did you actually just come from a battle to this battle? Because if that's the case, this clearly is not fair. Your guys are tired. You just came from a battle. We're fresh. We should call this off. Take a day, take a bath, clean yourself up, rest up. We'll fight tomorrow. It's all right. We'll wait. So, I don't know. It's just one of those little snippets of logic that bother me whenever I play. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying and talking about how we've already had some things come up from yesterday where during that Paintisode, I was talking about how I was wondering if I should reduce my number of armies and stuff like that, because I really have too much. It's always a thing where, whenever I play somebody new, one of the regular questions is, oh, what armies do you have? And after I list off my bajillion armies, it's kind of like, no, I'm not trying to brag. You just asked. And, I always seem to qualify it after saying, it might sound like a lot, but it actually is And I could have a car with this. So, I mean, don't feel bad. You know, the fact that you were fiscally responsible and I'm a Warhammer addict, you know, that's nothing bad against you. You know, you should be thinking like, man, at least I'm not as bad as Malorian. You know, that guy, he's lucky he's married. And, you know, that's actually even true, right? I've talked with other fathers, and they just could not believe the stuff I get away with, right? Getting to go to all these tournaments, spending all this money on Warhammer. Like my brother, holy, he has it bad, or maybe good. But basically, for myself, I give myself a hobby budget of $50 a month, right? And that doesn't include tournaments or anything like that. But I think that's all right. And depending what's going on, a lot of times I should be fair that I probably pump that up to more like $100. But anyway, the main thing is that for my brother, he has zero hobby budget. Literally zero. All the stuff that he gets either comes from birthdays or something like that, or he does a lot of stuff on Bartertown where he'll try and find good deals and sell it for a profit, and then that's what he uses to get something else. And, you know, that's probably, like I said, it's a lot more fiscally responsible, you know, probably looking at all your stuff and saying, man, I could have bought a Porsche by now isn't exactly a good thing. So, yeah. But I do feel kind of bad for him sometimes. It was like, hey, yeah, why don't you get this thing? It's just a couple of bucks. And it's like, well, I could, but, you know, right now I don't got much in the hobby budget, or I'm saving up for this. So, we can't all be man-children like Malorian. Some of us still have work to do. But anyway, with that, I have decided to reduce my number of armies. And the two I'm going to be starting with are the two ones where they're not painted. So Bretonnians, yeah, my Bretonnians, I have now decided, are going to go. I mean, I tried, right? I tried saying this year I was going to paint them, I was going to get them done, and it just did not happen because I just cannot paint Bretonnians. It's not going to happen. And they're even hard to transport too, you know. If I was to get them magnetized, that'd be different, but they just, the way they are, I have them like set up like standing in a box, and so as I'm going around, they fall down, and it's probably good they're not painted because then they'd be all chipped. And so I probably have about 3,000 points of Bretonnians, and for those, you guys are probably going to be dropping your jaw at this, but I'm actually just going to give them away. I know that right now they're not the most competitive. I'm not going to get a really good price for them probably anyway. And there is a guy where I have a pretty big debt to right now. Not monetarily, but like a life debt type thing, because he really helped me out and went, you know, over above and beyond what you'd expect. And I've been trying to figure out how to pay him back for a while. You know, let him go to a few of my tournaments for free and stuff, but that just seemed like so minor compared to what he did for me. So you know what? I just message him and say, you know what? You don't have Bretonnians, right? No? Okay, bam. Guess what? You have Bretonnians. So coming up here is going to be the Onslaught tournament, which I can't go to, unfortunately. But I'm just going to stop by, say hi, and I'm going to give him a nice big box of Bretonnians. So he's an amazing painter. Hopefully sometime in the future he has time to deal with them. I know right now he's doing a big demons thing. Basically making armies for all the gods and taking them to the tournaments and trying them out. And so I don't know at what point he could actually get to painting these guys and using them, but I'm interested to see what he does because he is a crazy good painter. He goes to the bigger places like Adepticon, and he even got noticed there where I can't remember if he was up for Best Painted, but in the video they did where they're talking to the judges, they were, you know, his was one of the armies of note. So Definitely a crazy, crazy good painter around here. I mean, like it's not Adepticon here. I mean, there's competition, but not like an Adepticon. But he is always, always, always either the winner or he's up in that circle where he's up one of the few 3 or 5 armies that are up being picked, and he's usually first or second type thing. So definitely they're going to a good home. He's also a very solid player as well. So, hopefully he can get some wins with them. I know right now Anthony is doing his best to win with his Bretonians, and he's having some pretty good success there. Some good, some bad. Just kind of like what you'd always expect. And the other army I've decided to let go is my Tomb Kings, because again, some of them are painted, but they're not painted by me, so there still were waiting to be repainted anyway. Uh, it seems like that's one of the things that really makes me have an attachment to an army, is if I've spent the time to paint them. Uh, when I got out of 40K, one of the armies I really loved, of course, was my Orcs with a K, the Space Orcs, and I had a massive, massive army for them. And one of the things that eventually let me go, or let me say that to myself that I could let them go, is the fact that, hey, they will never be painted. If I ever had a choice of painting an orc with a K or an orc with a C, it's going to be the fantasy orc, guaranteed. Like I got over 10,000 points of orcs, and I'm working on my 3rd troll horde. But even then, I would rather be painting these guys here than painting the guys for the 40K orcs. So they are going to go, and I believe I gave the Tomb Kings a fair shake. I tried playing them. They just did not work the way I wanted to play them. I know you can make them work going that depending on magic and doing it that way. Also, my monster spam list was working when I played it that way. But when I look at like, hey, I could either run 3 Sphinxes and 2 Bone Giants and blah blah blah, or I could do my High Elves and fly around with Dragons or Phoenixes. You just have way more fun with that because sure, like Phoenixes are toughness 8 and I can heal them and cool stuff like that, but they're so slow and they can't march, and it's just you almost have to just stand there shooting your opponent with your Scullipults, hoping that they'll come over and fight you so that you have something to do in the game, right? So it's just that whole lack of speed. I just can't get behind. And that's a big thing that gets other people too. Like, I even play dwarves, but dwarves are faster than Tomb Kings, right? It's pretty ridiculous. And it wouldn't take much to change that. Just go with the same vampire count type rules, where if you're within a foot of the general, then you can march or something like that. Or man, just get rid of that rule altogether. You know, is it really so game breaking if skeletons can march? Is it really? That undead, they are just getting slaughtered when it comes to combat. They're not doing well in 8th anyway. Why not let them march? So right now I'm actually in talks with Stephen Walker. Right away he said that he was interested in them. So it's been a while since I had anything to do with my Tomb Kings. So I'm going to need to go and figure out what I have. I know I have a lot. At first I kind of thought like, oh, I have a bit of this, I have a bit of that. But then when I started adding up the numbers, like if you were to buy what I have, you're looking at over $1,000. But a lot of the stuff too, it's like, I have a box full of skeletons, but they're, broken or whatever. They need some love. I mean, the nice thing about undead is that they can be broken, and it doesn't really matter, right? If you see a skeleton and he's missing a head, whatever, right? That perfectly fits in. You can't really pull that off with orcs or Empire or something else, right? If you're missing a head, shouldn't that dude be dead? But with the undead armies, it's actually okay. It's a bigger deal when they're broken at the legs or something, so they can't even be really used. But, there's a lot of stuff there that isn't broken. Got a bunch of the Cav models. Good number of Ushapti. I got all the monsters. So, we're looking at working a deal. I might get more high elves out of it. We'll have to see. But, I'm not looking to make big money off this. I'm looking more just to trim down, and especially, it's weird. You'd think that, like, if you're doing people that you'd be giving a discount to, it'd be like, oh yeah, if you're selling something to your buddy or to family or something like that. But something that means more to me as well is the fact that they're going to be used. So Stephen Walker is a YouTuber. I know he is going to be using stuff, and hey, it's even the added benefit that I'll be able to see it used because they'll be on YouTube or whatever, right? So it's kind of funny how something like that is like, oh yeah, I'll give you a better deal because it's going to a good spot. So, but we still got to work all those things out. At this point, he's just said that he's pretty interested in them. He might see them and go, whoa, that's way too much work, and say, no, thank you. But it's good to see that it's already kind of going. With that, probably the next one that's possibly on the chopping block is the vampire counts. There is a good amount painted there, but it really is just like the core and stuff. And man, this is one too where, again, I keep going back to it, but I played a lot of vampire counts. A lot of vampire counts. This is back in 7th and stuff, and it's just when I was really competitive, I was vampire counts all the time, kicking in teeth, and so it's even a thing where there is no other army that I wrote as much fluff as I did for my vampire counts. On Warseer, I had a thing where for every game, I would write a story of what's going on currently, and the story would progress. And I had this whole thing where my vampire was Labora, and she was actually trying to seduce Karl Franz. And, I had all these little side stories going on and stuff too, right? And I love writing that stuff, right? So, here I'd be holding the model that I know this is Labora. This is the one I played for, it's at least 100 games. I don't want to think I get to 200 games I played with my vampire counts, but when he played so much and the pages and pages of fluff I would have written for her, it's like, I don't know if I can just give her away. Not give her away. It's not like the Bretonians. I'd probably find someone to sell them to, but it's just, I don't know. And it's one of those things where if I ever wanted to use them, I'd have to invest hundreds of dollars to get the good stuff to make them worthwhile. So I don't know. But then again, hey, I was kind of wondering if I could break the meta, right? Like Terrorgeists are cool, but they get shot. And everybody knows now that because of Terrorgeists and Demon Princes and all the rest, everybody has war machines. So maybe I can make it work where I would take a bunch of just regular infantry and put in super characters and basically run them as like hero hammer vampire counts. The problem with that is, again, going back to my fluff, where I was a Lamayan vampire, which shouldn't be wearing armor, and although, like she's all about like tricks and seduction and stuff like that. So although in a way you could say like, oh, she's kind of crazy, she has no armor, she draws you in, and then bam, it's like, Blender Lord with no armor, I kill you type thing, right? So I can kind of justify that, but I could not justify having all these armored vampires all over the place. And maybe that's a fluff I shouldn't really be sticking to because it seems like GW really said screw you to anything that's not Von Karstein or Blood Dragon, basically. You can't really make a good army with a Lemayan idea anymore. I mean, they came up with the whole throne, that thing there where, roll leadership and blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, that model really bugs me because, again, they're supposed to be like seducing from the shadows and subterfuge and all the rest of it. They're not going to go around on this big, massive throne, carried by screaming ghosts, and then trying to seduce you in the middle of the battlefield, right? Like, that's not really how they're supposed to work. So that whole model kind of really bugs me. But we'll see. That's another army where right now it's not taking up a lot of space. So they're probably going to stay. However, for, I guess, Malorian lovers, right now this is just kind of depressing talk because nobody wants to hear about the stuff Malorian won't be using. Although, if you're a fan of my orcs and goblins and dwarves and stuff like that, hey, good news, because I'll be more orcs. The less time I spend on this other stuff, the more it'll be on orcs. More rumors are coming out. Oh, it's almost not rumors anymore. The Wood Elf book here is going to be coming out pretty dang soon. I believe it's going to be out for May 3rd, is what they were saying around here. So pretty crazy the way that GW does this now, where it's hush, 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 bam, there's a new book in a couple of weeks. So it's like, what? What's going on here, right? And I'm not really sure what they're trying to pull off with that type of, oh no, my thing closed. With that type of like sales plan. I mean, it almost seems like it's trying to be too sneaky. Like the whole idea of trying to be like a bam flash, hope people see this, and then, decide to jump into it before they really look into it type thing. Meanwhile, like a good comparison would be Privateer Press, who spoil everything. It's actually to the point where they spoil too much. Where in their new books, you almost don't want to get their new books because you already know everything that's going to be in there because they spoiled everything, rules included. But I mean, with that, you get to plan ahead, right? And for the stuff that's worthwhile, and really, if they did their job, playtesting, most of it should be worthwhile. It lets you kind of plan out your purchases, right? So that, okay, this is coming out, I can now run this type of a list, I'll need this and this and this. As opposed to, bam, here's Wood Elves. And, luckily, like the last one that I did that was basically like that, where I walked in and I bought a bunch of stuff, was my Orcs and Goblins, where I already had a lot, but going in, there's a brand new Savage Orcs. But at least at that point, they leaked enough stuff that I knew the Savage Orcs were going to be good. So walking in, I bought the army book and 4 boxes of Savages. This, bam, definitely that was a worthwhile purchase. I don't think anything in my army has been used as much as the Savage Orc Biggins. So definitely got my worth there. These guys are coming along well. We've done these trolls in no time. But I don't know, we're going to have to see. They had a lot of fancy stuff there. I saw that they also said that you're going to be able to use the high and the dark magic. So that could be pretty interesting. I don't know if it's going to be a thing where you have to pick one or the other. If picking that will limit other options, stuff like that. It almost is kind of okay. I like that they're giving them their options, and options are good. However, from a fluff standpoint, I don't understand why they have access to the dark magic. Because by my understanding, this subset of elves went to the woods And then way back on the island, that's where the whole thing happened with Malekith and everything else. And that's where the whole, the high elves versus the dark elves started. And the wood elves are completely separate. So at first I was like, oh, it's kind of cool how they're kind of neutral. And who knows whether they're leaning more towards the dark elves or the high elves. But really, they should have no interaction with them whatsoever, right? They're completely separate. And I'm sure they know about Malekith. I'm sure about this stuff, but the whole idea where some of them might be turning over to there and going with dark magic, I don't know. Maybe there'll be finally an advance in the fluff that's going to explain this stuff. We're going to have to kind of wait and see. Let's do the metal next. But, I don't know. I have a good chunk of my wood elves painted. And I really do like my wood elves. The stuff, like the way that I painted them. The way that I did it was a little bit more by the book type thing. And I played a fair number of competitive games with them too. But then when I tried getting them ready for 8th, for those who haven't seen it, I decided that one of the ways that I would make them more competitive in 8th is just go complete avoidance. Kind of following how they used to play back in 7th, and I went for a whole bunch of Glade Riders. Now, I bought/traded for enough of those so that my core could be completely Glade Riders. Actually, most of my army is just Glade Riders, and I'm just running around shooting you up, and you will never catch me and never engage me. Those models I have not painted yet, so I still have those. And so, of course, my biggest worry is I really hope I don't see the new book and it turns out that they're just not worth having anymore. I mean, it's not like my Orcs and Goblins where they can say, oh, in the new book, Savage Orcs are complete crap. Whatever. I have enough other options that I can make a viable army. Depending what they do, maybe Forest Spirits are the only things that are really worthwhile, right? All the tree guys. If that happens, it's like, oh, I own 8 Dryads. And I got to basically rebuild my army. So that could be a very expensive thing, but hey, it's not long until I get to figure out what that's going to be. And of course, as always, I'm going to be getting the book. I'm going to try and do a review the same day or the day after. I always try and get the same day. And that's, again, it's one of my most popular videos whenever I do these army book reviews. And I think it really has to do with the whole idea where these books come on so suddenly and people want to know, what the hell is going on. Should I get into this army? Should I be going and rushing to the store and buying the book? Should I be worried about what I'm going to be facing at the store? Because that's always one of the things. For the people, I buy every book and I review every army, so I always know what's coming. But for Joe, whoever, who just runs their Empire army and, they only know their Empire stuff, when a new army book comes up, they know that they are in for like a month or two of surprise where they're going to play against stuff and they don't know what that unit is. They don't know all the new rules. They don't know all the new items. And they are going to get their butts kicked simply because they don't know what the hell's going on. But by listening to shows like that, you can say, oh, okay, they're going to have this. I should be expecting this combo. Or they might be trying to do this to me. Hopefully people find that it really helps take away that. Because otherwise, it's like I said, it's like, well, I didn't know they had this item. Guess I lose. I had this whole plan based off this happening, and I didn't understand that the rules worked like this for them now, and oh well. Like when people first played against Ogre Kingdoms when they were redone, and they had the, what's that stupid thing called now? Oh, the one where you use it in the magic phase and everything within this random range takes a miscast. I can't remember the name of it right now, of course. But when that first came out, people were like, what? what the hell? And I mean, it's a game changer, right? Because that happens typically during your own magic phase. And not only do a lot of these miscasts mean that you lose d6 dice and your magic phase is basically over, but as well, I mean, your mages are exploding the units that they're in, and this one item in a heartbeat, Hellheart, there you go, is completely changing the game, and it's just saying, okay, you didn't know the rule, game over. So you really have to make sure you know about these things. I mean, hey, let's take the new High Elves. If you were playing High Elves and you didn't know about the Banner of the World Dragon and you're playing them as demons, oh boy, are you in for a surprise, right? I don't know what else you would do knowing that. I guess you would know, you could look at the opponent's army and kind of figure out, oh, okay, uh, that banner is probably in one of these units, so I got to just kind of like tie them up and go for something else. But man, that one can be a kick in the teeth. I really do. I mean, in a way, I like the banner because of the demons. Even not even demons. The demons, they had a little bit going with them with Nurgle. The Demon Prince is the real thing, and their Demon Prince isn't even like that. So at first I was going to say it was just rewards for the Demon Prince, but the Demon Book shouldn't be to blame for that. Their Demon Prince is fair. It's the Warriors of Chaos one that's just a little bit too crazy. Just a little bit. Just a unbreakable bit. That's what it really comes down to. All right, there's that guy. So I don't know how your painting's going along, but mine's come along pretty good and fast. These regular trolls really don't have a lot of detail to them. Actually, well, they have a little bit, but not as much as other models. So I can get through these guys pretty quick. So otherwise, still trying to get some games going. Looks like there's going to be another tournament I can't go to. Kieran Dunleavy is going to be running a doubles tournament, and that should be pretty awesome. Unfortunately, it's the same day as my son's birthday. So can't make it to that. In fact, I'm going to be helping him out, set it up and things. It's going to be at the location where the venue where I normally run my tournament, so I'll be helping him hook him up with that and maybe some terrain and mat, stuff like that. But damn, another tournament I just can't go to this year. And to be fair, this is another one in May, so just like I had to drop Onslaught, I'm pretty sure this would have been pretty hard to sneak past the wife anyway. It's Brawler's fault. I'm going to blame Brawlers. How dare they be May and June? As far as Brawlers goes, I have booked off my time at work for that. It really is too bad that I have to lose 2 days just to travel, right? For me to get here from Alberta over to North Carolina, I am looking for it, it's a day either way. So that really sucks that, I wish it had been a thing where it's a little bit closer, because then I can spend that time playing, right? If I could say, like, hey, I'll be there a day early, and I can be playing games, and then I can get there, say, a day late, and play more games against people, that'd be awesome. But, it's just, already I'll be using up 3 vacation days, over using a weekend in conjunction, and still, I really only have like the 3 gaming days. So anyway, I'm going to be leaving and flying the Thursday. Get there, I'm not sure yet. I haven't done the plane ticket yet, just booked the time off work. Have to look for the good deals, but I'll get there Thursday. I'm guessing I won't have time for anything because it'll be so late in the day. Just kind of hang out with one's bitten, maybe do a video talking about how we think we're going to do, something like that. Then there's the doubles tournament on the Friday. So going to go Shimmer Gloom and kick some butt. Then after that, there is going to be the actual tournament on the Saturday and Sunday. First game is going to be up against the Jekker, and so that should be still lots of fun. I'm going to be on. They have a Twitch thing that's going to be going on there, so you'll get to see me playing there. And hopefully, if I can do very well, they're going to be keeping it like that, doing Twitch for the top table. So if I can do well, hey, you might see me again. So I'm going to try my best. I don't know. I'm still playing with my lists, trying to figure out what I want to do, whether I want to be competitive or I want to go for fun or just Malorian it, right? Like one of my Malorian lists I was going is like, hey, what if I go with a Goblin War Boss with a Wizarding Hat? It'd be an Orc, but I don't have enough points for the rest of the stuff. Then I have my Night Goblin BSB. I have my Savage Orc Biggins with Banner. I have my 3 units of Night Goblins with Banner and Fanatics. And blah. They're mainly there because I know there's going to be Blood and Glory, so I need a bunch of banners. Plus, I need to kill off the chaff because I have 3 hordes of trolls. There would also be 1 horde of 18 trolls, another horde of 18 trolls, and then another horde of 16 river trolls. And like that's a Malorian list, right? 4 hordes, 3 of them being hordes of trolls. I got the Wizarding Hat. I got 4 stupid units, like units of stupidity. I'm kind of tempted to do that list. So we'll see. I don't think it would do as well because if I ever go up against something flying around me, like I have no war machines. I can't deal with the Demon Prince. He can't really deal with me either because he'll come in, I'll puke all over him, but he can just fly to my side and Purple Sun and but I'm tempted. Not really sure actually for Dejekker. He is an Orc and Goblin player, but he's also been doing a lot lately with his Dark Elves. Dejekker, make more battle reports so I can do more espionage. But yeah, I don't know which one he's going to do. If he was to go with a sneaky Dark Elf list, they can do the same thing, right? Marathi flying around, doing her evil stuff. That could be bad times. Gotta paint while I talk. I'm going to run out of time. But we'll see, at least for that game. I'm guaranteed to have the one game against him, and I know that he's a nicer player, right? I'm not saying that he's not a competitive player, but he's not one of like the win-at-all-costs type people where I have to worry about he's going for this stupid loophole or he's going for this power build. He'll bring really good stuff, but he's not going to push it to 11, right? So that should be a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't know how crazy that one's going to get. I just know it's going to be fun. Really looking forward to that game. I'm going to be hopefully... See, that's the thing, too, is I don't know how the timing works. Like, I don't know if after we're done, if there's time for gaming after. Because, I want to have game... I'll have a game against Once Bitten at his place, probably. It'd be nice to play against Anthony again. I play against other YouTubers like Nick and stuff like that. But I don't know how much time I'm going to have to do this stuff. Because I don't really know how the timing works after the tournament. How much time there's there to have other games. And even if there is, I don't know if Old Man Once Bitten will have the energy to stay. Because I know that kind of happened some of the other times, or last year, where he was just tired and just had to go home. So, I got to go with the guy. He's being so nice, giving me a place to stay and picking me up from the airport and stuff like that. If he's tired, that's fine. I'm going to be getting in plenty of the games regardless. Double tournaments. Almost certainly playing a game against Once Bitten. And then anything else is extra. So it's going to be a really, really fun weekend. And also really unfortunate that, like I said, this is almost certainly going to be the last time I can go. We'll see. if I can get my wife and family to move up here to Fort Mac again, man, when you have 2 Fort McMurray salaries, 2 oil salaries, it's good times. We were having that until she got pregnant. I guess I can't completely just blame her for that. Uh, but she hasn't been working really since. So I mean, there's that. Then all of a sudden that could help out. My mysterious sponsor from the last time unfortunately didn't reemerge. For those who don't remember, there was a guy, he was saying after that, he doesn't get to play much anymore, but he really loves to watch my reports. And so if it's going to help out going to the Brawler Bash and stuff like that, he'd actually throw $500 my way to help that happen. I was like, oh, that's awesome. But, he didn't message me back for this year, so maybe he didn't like all the War Machine battle reports. Who knows what else happened? But either way, and I wouldn't want to do stuff like kickstarting for it because you know what? I would rather you guys spend your money going to your own tournaments than sending it to me for me to go to more tournaments, right? I can go and I can arrange a game at my own place. I can, go to tournaments here if I really needed to. So, I mean, like the number of games is not a problem, especially if I was to move back to Edmonton. But, I just wouldn't want to do something like that. Like with the whole idea with like the Malorian Daily, where it would be like a pay site and it's like a battle report every single day. Sure, I can, maybe think that I'd be asking for money like that there, but the whole idea where like, oh, send me money so I can buy a camera, send me money so I can go to this tournament, I just can't see myself doing that, right? So, no, that's going to be fine. And there really is plenty of good tournaments here as well. I had to pick between Warhammered or Brawlers. So next year, then I can go to Warhammered, play in all those crazy scenarios, and drink and be merry. Looking pretty good. Did I get the fingernails? I got the fingernails. Oh, I don't get that one. How are we doing for time? We're doing okay. I think I might make it. I think I might actually be telling the truth. Probably shouldn't have stopped. But, yeah, one of the... Just talking about brawlers and lists and stuff like that. The trolls, again, would be a very easy one to pack. I'm already bringing some of that stuff in my list already for the doubles tournament. So, wherever I can double up would be very nice. I don't know. I was trying to think how I'd do against Anthony. He's taking his Bretonians. He's going to have Killing Blow and stuff in there. For the most part, I think it would be bad for Anthony. I think so. He doesn't really have anything that can go in there and assassinate my characters too easily. He could fly over with like his Pegasus Knights and try and hunt down my bunker and stuff like that. And his Super Knight units, a lot of his defense revolves around like his 1+ rollable saves for his characters. So I just puke all over my trolls, and that would do pretty well there. One Bespitten is still working on his list, so I mean, we'll have to see what he settles on before we know whether my list will be good against him. If he goes for his whole Light Council, I should be able to close the gap and beat him there. I mean, but really, if he sends Demigriffs into a Troll Horde, they're not going to survive. I'm going to puke all over them. They're going to disappear. If he sends a Steam Tank into the Trolls, again, I mean, I'm just going to puke all over him. He'll hold me up for a while, but I'm going to win that in the long run. Because I just hit automatically, I ignore your armor, and it's all about at that point there where I'm strength 5 puke, you're toughness 6. How many 5+s can I roll? And how fast, right? And the first round, I'm rolling 9 dice, so I should do 3 wounds. Next round, same type of thing. So it's going to take a while to kill a steam tank, but it's going to happen. So with only 1 steam tank, like if I was playing against someone with double steam tank, I have to be a little bit worried. But because he just has to hold up 2 of them and then sneak around to get to the rest. Here, I think, are we on cleanup already on these trolls? Did I really get all the details already? Oh, we missed some gold. A little gold trinket that apparently this troll stole from a dwarf. With them having like magical powers, it'd be nice if they actually would have stolen one of the runes that actually gave powers. Maybe having like the 2+ Ward Against Flaming. All of a sudden then, this little starter box troll, he can be the new Throg, right? I'm invincible! But, no, apparently we just looted like a bunch of the regular runes. Like, it was some rune that was like, this is actually like the shopping list. They're about to go, like he was heading out for groceries, and it's like milk and eggs and stuff like that. And then a troll came out of nowhere and killed him. And it's like, ha, I got this. And I put it on my chest. It doesn't do nothing. It ain't magical. But the troll doesn't know. He's stupid. He still just nails it onto his tummy regardless. Oh, trolls. Oh, stupidity as a rule in general. It is funny how I just like making my character stupid. I think if the Wizarding Hat didn't make you stupid, I wouldn't like it as much. Just that whole idea about how you're paying all those points to make your guy worse. I know. I just find it funny. The Wizarding Hat in that application, though, where I say that I could have it running the troll hordes, that can be actually pretty legit because the Orc and Goblin magic, whether it's the little Wah or the big Wah, doesn't really support trolls well. I mean, the big Wah does nothing. You have one spell that lets you re-roll the hit, but it's orcs only. So it does absolutely nothing for the trolls. The little Wah, you could get like armor-piercing attacks, or poison attacks. But for the most part, that doesn't do very much for trolls because, they're so strong, they're either strength 5 or we're ignoring armor anyway, that really having it so that either they are -1 armor save or, you're automatically wounding if you hit on a 6 isn't that big of a deal. However, if you go with that Wizarding Hat and you get up to like, Weissens or Mind, I guess it depends again how Mind Razor is being ruled there. We could be making our strength lower depending on how they define the unmodified leadership. But, like all these different things, or the Flaming Blades, or something like that, right? You can get some really good spells that are actually making your trolls even better, right? Like maybe Flesh to Stone, and you got Toughness 6 trolls. You can get some pretty crazy stuff. So I would have to go and convert up another Wizarding Hat. Is this the right? No, wrong metal. Because right now I only made the one for the Orc. I do not have any Goblin with a Wizarding Hat. At times I proxied a Cheerleader Goblin I have, just because it's a silly thing anyway. But if I took it to Brawlers, I would convert something up. It's not so hard, right? It's really easy to make these Wizarding Hats. It's funny, too, because I go to events, and people look at my Wizarding Hat and like, wow, that's so awesome. And you have to realize my green stuff skills are terrible. Nobody should be looking at the stuff I do with green stuff and go like, wow. Because literally all you do when you're making the Wizarding Hat is you go and you squish down a circle, right? Make a circle, whether you squish it like that or have to trim it off the edges. And then in the middle, you cut a little hole so it fits on the head. And then you can make it flappy whatever way you want. Then you make a cone. You just go and make a little tiny cone and put it on the top, make it so it's bent back at the very back there. And then to make it so it looks like there's a little rim going around it there for the thing, you just take, a toothpick or anything and just kind of like bring it around so that you can actually see like that defined edge, and then you just paint it and it's done. That's it. It's so easy. The easiest thing to make a wizarding hat, but I'm sure the reason why you don't see more of it anyway is because it really is kind of just a silly option. But hey, I'd love to see, let's make this one look a little bit better. Let's do at least one spot where we do a little bit of shading. But, man, that is probably one of my bigger worries for 9th, is whether those items are still going to be there. The wizarding hat, the, can't think and paint. The floating carpet, the magic carpet, so that all of a sudden my, any models I made, like Super Orc, would be useless, all the rest of it. So, maybe I should be taking them, right? I'll make a list that has Super Orc and my Wizarding Hat, and I'll bring them to Brawlers, right? Just so, that's another, like, Malorian type thing, and I'll try using them. But, I don't know. It'd be really nice if they kept it. But then again, I've seen enough books come and go that I've seen some items that I thought were really nice, and there's no way they'll change those. But nope, they went on their way. Probably the two ones for Orc and Goblins that I missed the most is, one, I missed the, what was that thing called? The one-hit wanda, which was a hand weapon which normally did nothing but be magical, but then once per game, it could be strength 10. So the crazy thing there is that chariots used to be able to be destroyed if they're hit by strength 7 or more. So you would just put this guy on a wolf with the one-hit wanda, and as long as I hit once and like wound on the 2+, that chariot is destroyed. And I just thought it was hilarious. Or you get into a fight, right? And they have some sort of hero, and they're like, yeah, sure, I'll take the challenge from you. My BSB can beat up this goblin. One-hit wonder! And if you can just roll okay for your to hits, right? Because that's the dicey one, is your 4+ to hit. You only have 3 attacks, but if you can just hit like 2 of them, get slightly above the curve, then wounding on a 2+ is pretty easy. They're not going to get any armor because you're minus bajillion, and you just killed a hero, right? And it could be a very important one. So I really love that item. I thought it was really orky, really fun, but it's gone. And I think part of it is, that was always a cheaper item. As I remember, I think it was only 10 points. And so, of course, all the new items that they seem to be keeping that are race-specific in the books, they're always the expensive items, right? The ones that are at least 50 points or more. So I wouldn't want to keep that at 50 points. But another one that was bog standard in every single Orc and Goblin list was the Spirit Totem. And what that did is, in the Magic phase, whatever your rank bonus was for that unit, that's how many extra Dispel dice you got. And so it was absolutely critical. Because you're getting 3 extra Dispel dice every Magic phase. And so because of that, I was able to easily run lists that would run with no magic. Because, hey, I might have no magic, but you're pretty much going to have no magic too, right? And it was just such a nice thing to have. But then again, that probably is better suited with dwarves. Because they're supposed to be anti-magic. So, oh well. These things come, they go. But in the meantime, before we see what happens there, we're going to have Wood Elves. But, Wood Elves just kind of even goes to show how little notice we might have before 9th. People are saying that maybe ninth isn't going to happen because we're not really hearing anything and this and that. Hey, there was not a lot out about Wood Owls, and all of a sudden it's like, bam, they're going to come out. And that's just it. It's a couple of weeks, it's released. So same thing, that could have been ninth. Bam, here's ninth, guys. Like, oh, okay. And it can be coming that quickly and change everything. So I really hope that GW does give more notice for ninth. I even wish they would do like a beta test, right? They did that in 40K a little bit, where in one of their releases they gave like trial assault rules, and basically what that was about was they were going to change the combat phase in 40K, and so they basically gave you these trial assault rules. Use them if you want, use them if they don't, and then from that they got to see like, okay, would this idea work? Yes, no, okay, let's go. And for whatever, if they have anything crazy planned for ninth, right? Like you hear these rumors about how they're really going to be changing or simplifying and doing whatever. I just really hope that they do the trial rules so that they can get the feedback. So that, hey, maybe, we talk about this as if it's going to be a negative thing, but hey, they could be very good. So, okay, hooray, I like these changes. Fantastic. Go ahead. But if it is something that's like, whoa, you are completely changing fantasy, this is just not a game I'm going to find enjoyable, that's hopefully something where they can pull in all that feedback and say, all right, go back to us more. Let's just take 8th and tweak it a little bit rather than making massive changes. So we'll have to wait till then to see what they do. But for me and for the now, here's something, with my wash, you have to be careful because I just do really watered down black. That is my wash. And what happens sometimes is that if I just throw my wash and forget about it, it pools and then there's like random spots of blackness on the model. So I always have to wait a little bit and fix it. Plus, something I found is that even though this is supposed to be a black wash, sometimes it turns into a gray wash because there's something in the black, the GW black, that actually comes out of solution over time. Because, I've had this container forever that I use for this, and sometimes I just have to dump it out, and there'll be just like this ooze of this grayness at the bottom that I have to get out and then restart again. But, yeah, I wonder why that's there. Anyway, I am done my 2 trolls. Hooray! And so that's 2 more on my way to having a horde of trolls that won't be crazy boring and won't just be holding their rocks above their head. I sent the pictures from last time to the Warhammer Weekly. That's the kind of like the podcast show that they do on the Long Island Wargaming. So if you want to see those pictures, go check them out. I think they do it Wednesday night, so I should be able to get these pictures to them too. We'll have to see. But go check it out. They usually have lots of fun. They talk about painting stuff that's way better than what I do. And they have more laughs because there's more of them and they get to drink. So there you go. Thanks for watching. This has been a Paintisode. As always, I love hearing down below what you were painting. Plus, if you have any comments about what I was talking about. And yeah, we'll see you later. Bye.